Hey everyone, Nick here. So I wanted to make another video that was Pokemon related, but yeah. You see, originally this video was supposed to be ranking the Pokemon villain teams, and in case you're wondering what that video was all about, basically it was me ranking the Pokemon villain teams, and here's what the list was. Number 7, Team Skull. Number 6, Team Rocket. Number 5, Team Magma. Number 4, Team Aqua. Number 3, Team Plasma. Number 2, Team Galactic. And number 1, Team Flare. That was the list. But that video took way too long to get uploaded. So sadly I had to delete it, and now it's lost in existence. So instead I decided to make this Pokemon video about my top favorite Pokemon of each type. Now this is exactly what it seems like. My favorite Pokemon of each type. Yep. Now, the types will be going in alphabetical order. I'll start with Bug and end with Water. Now, how will this work? What about Dual-type Pokemon? Well, for Dual-type Pokemon, they'll only be making one type instead of both. For example, if Incineroar was on this list, he'd be counting as either Fire-type or Dark-type, not both. So, yeah, this is basically how it's going to be it. And before we get started, I just want to let you guys know, give this video a big like, and in the comments below, tell me what your favorite Pokemon of each type is. The types going in alphabetical order, of course. Now, without any further ado, let's get to it. My favorite bug type is Ariados. I never really liked spiders. Actually, I don't think anyone really likes spiders, except for spiders when they're Pokemon. And Ariados would be the exception, because I really like how you can interpret a real-life animal into Pokemon. Granted, that's probably the huge, but this is actually a more accurate. Well, Ariados actually is more closer to its real-life counterpart than any other animal-based Pokemon, because it can actually do the things a real-world spider can do, and I like that. It could shoot webs, and it could make webs, and it could eat its prey by strangling them in its webs, and, you know, stuff like that. And, yep, that's pretty much it. My favorite dark type is Krookodile. Krookodile does insanely look like a dark type. It's all around menacing, and it does look spooky in design, with its dark colors and its black stripes, and oh boy, those eyes. Do not look into those eyes, my friends. He'll swallow your soul. Now, I did not have a Krookodile on my team when I played Unova, but he does look like an interesting Pokemon to catch, and I highly regret not having one on my team when I played through Gen 5. My favorite Dragon type is Tyrantrum. I've stated in my top 10 favorite Pokemon video that I had a Tyrantrum on my team in Gen 6, and that it looked like a motherfrickin' T-Rex. And I think it's been a while since we've had a Pokemon that closely resembled a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Actually, I don't think we've ever had a Pokemon resembling a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And that's why I wanted a Tyrantrum on my team in Kalos. And, yeah. And, one thing that really bothers me is that it looks like a T-Rex, and yet it's a dragon type. Do dragons and dinosaurs have any relation? But anyway, Tyrantrum is pretty freaking awesome, and I would definitely want a Tyrantrum if it existed in real life. My favorite electric type is Zebstrika. Originally, I was going to give this spot to Raichu, one of the most well-known electric type Pokemon, but I decided to give it to Zebstrika, considering it's from my favorite generation, Generation 5. And of course, we've never had a Pokemon that resembled a zebra before, and of course, I like zebras, so of course, you know, I gotta love Zebstrika. And it definitely is interesting in design, where all the stripes that usually are on a zebra are replaced with lightning bolts, giving it the electric type appeal. And now that we know that a zebra actually is a black horse with white stripes that look like lightning bolts. My favorite fairy type is Sylveon. I know fairy type is not the most popular Pokemon type, but I had to include it in this video because, hey, it is a Pokemon type, and my favorite fairy type is easily Sylveon. Now, Sylveon is not my favorite Eevee evolution, or Eeveelution as they're called by the fans of the franchise, But when I look at Sylveon, it automatically screams, Fairy! I'm so sorry. Anyway, and let's face it, guys, there are not that many Fairy-type Pokemon to choose from. Also, when I look at Sylveon, it just looks so freaking beautiful. And I think you guys know what I mean. My favorite fighting type is Lucario. Come on, admit it, guys. You knew Lucario would make it. Don't lie to me. Anyway, Lucario is my favorite fighting type, mainly because of the popularity of Lucario. He got introduced during Gen 4, and you guys know I got introduced to the franchise during Gen 4. So, of course, Lucario had to make it into the video because of the mass popularity of him during the fandom. Throughout the fandom. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, and Lucario is a pretty amazing fighter, if I do say so myself. My favorite fire type is Emboar. What? You were expecting Incineroar? Come on, guys. If you saw my starter Pokemon video, you would know that Tepig was my first fire starter. And its full evolution, Emboar, would be my favorite fire type Pokemon because of how awesome it is and because it was my first fully evolved fire type in my favorite generation, Gen 5. And it looks like a Mexican wrestler. The awesome kind, not the lame kind. Yeah, there are a lot of lame Mexican wrestlers. You know, it's very ironic how I compare him to a Mexican wrestler when he has Chinese influences, thus by the red and the gold symbols on his body. Anyway, Emboar is pretty freaking awesome. And I think you can say so to yourself because I know Emboar does not get a lot of love among the fandom, but I think he looks pretty amazing. My favorite flying type is Breviary. I've said in my top 10 favorite Pokemon video that I had a Breviary on my team in Unova, and since then, Breviary has become one of my personal favorite Pokemon, so much so that it made number 2 on my top 10 favorite Pokemon list. And I don't think you can blame me because Breviary is a pretty cool Pokemon. It's a well-known fact among the Pokemon community that Unova, the region from Gen 5, is based off of specific elements from the United States of America, and Breviary is an example of which because it's a bald eagle colored red, white, and blue, and I've said in my top 10 favorite Pokemon video that it does not get more American than that. When people think American Pokemon, Breviary is easily one of the first things that pop into their mind. My favorite ghost type is Lampent. Now, Gen 5 is when a lot of true Pokemon fans complained that they were running out of ideas considering the Pokemon designs in Gen 5, and Lampent was one of those Pokemon designs, but I actually personally like Lampent because of all of its ghost-type abilities. Wish I could say the same thing about its evolution, Chandelure. Yeah, a little bit of a spoiler, Chandelure will be in a future Pokemon video about my top 10 least favorite Pokemon, so stay subscribed for that. If you've seen my previous 2 Pokemon videos, my favorite grass type should be obvious. Of course, it's Torterra. In my previous 2 Pokemon videos, you guys know how much I love this guy because I've had such an emotional connection with him, and he's personally one of my personal favorite Pokemon, so I'm keeping it at a minimum here. And that should be about it. That's why he's my favorite grass type. My favorite ground type is Garchomp. Garchomp is one of the most popular Pokemon in Gen 4 next to Lucario, and of course, just like Lucario being included in this video, I had to put Garchomp in the video just because of his popularity, and might I say, he looks fierce and tough. Definitely like the type of Pokemon that you want on your team, and definitely the kind of Pokemon that could kill you if it existed in real life. My favorite ice type is Burarctic. As you may have guessed, I really like Pokemon based off of real-world animals, especially Pokemon based off of real-world animals that we haven't gotten yet, and Burarctic actually is an example. Well, there wasn't... It's based off of a polar bear, boy, and we never had a polar bear-themed Pokemon before Burarctic. And, yeah, it is really neat to see Game Freak come up with new Pokemon based off of animals that we haven't gotten yet. And that's why Burarctic is my favorite ice type. My favorite normal type is Patrat, not to be confused with Matpat. I know Patrat is the easiest Pokemon to find in the Gen 5 games, but I wanted to include it on this list because of its name alone. Patrat. It rhymes, so that makes it cool. I also do not like its eyes because they just look really weird to me. But other than that, it's pretty cool. That's why it's my favorite normal type. My favorite poison type is Croagunk. Yes, I know, there is some amount of Sinnoh Pokemon in this video, but to be fair, I got introduced to Pokemon through the Sinnoh game, so of course there's going to be some Sinnoh Pokemon. Anyway, my first appearance of Croagunk was actually not in the Sinnoh games. It was actually in an episode of the Diamond and Pearl anime, and I loved it there. And when I encountered it in my playthrough of Diamond and Pearl, I actually encountered one, and I decided to catch it, and I caught it, and I had it on my team. And then it evolved into a Toxicroak, and it looked even cooler, but it was not as, emotionally appealing as Croagunk because, I just love Croagunk because of its poison stuff. My favorite psychic type is Girafarig. I really like Girafarig based off of, well, my love of giraffes, and that's why I caught one in my playthrough of Heart Gold and Soul Silver because, Heart Gold and Soul Silver were released at the same time as Gen 4, and you guys know, yada yada yada. Anyway, I love Girafarig mainly because I love giraffes, also because of its design, about how close it is to the animal it's based off of. My favorite rock type is Rhydon. The reason why I really like Rhydon is the same reason why I really like Girafarig, because I really like the animals that it's based off of, and that being rhinos. And I would have no problem if real-world rhinos looked like this, because Rhydon just looks like it's armored and ready to battle and ready to take on any Pokemon that it takes on. That is, of course, unless that Pokemon is type, strength against Rhydon. Whatever, Rhydon is pretty cool, so he's my favorite rock type. My favorite steel type is Ogeron. Now, Ogeron definitely is very, very, very terrifying and very fierce. I never really had one on my team, so much like a lot of the Pokemon in this video, it's mostly my favorite based off of design. It reminds me a lot of Super Shredder from the Ninja Turtle franchise, with me being a Ninja Turtle fan and all. But anyways, Ogeron is actually pretty freaking cool, and it also reminds me of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, mainly because of the white on its body looking like a hockey mask. And finally, wrapping up this video, we have my favorite water type, Greninja. I stated in my favorite starter video that I'm a fan of ninjas, and that's mainly the reason why I chose Froakie as my Kalos starter, because of its evolution to Greninja. And can you blame me? Because Greninja does look pretty freaking awesome. It does do a good job of mixing the frog and ninja motif into one, and I actually really enjoy Greninja for that. Okay, that's it for the video. In the comments below, tell me what your favorite Pokemon of each type are. The types going in alphabetical order, of course, just like mine did. Okay, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and of course, as always, until next time, see ya.